Far beyond the human world, there existed a hidden realm known as Luminara, where every element had its guardian fairy. The fire path, a glowing crimson trail that ran through mountains of amber and rivers of lava, was protected by Lyra, the tiniest and youngest fairy of all. Unlike other fairies, Lyra's wings were golden with fiery tips that shimmered like the sunrise. Though small and gentle, Lyra's heart was braver than anyone could imagine. Every night, she danced along the fire path, lighting the flames that kept her realm alive. The fire path wasn't just a road, it was the lifeline of Luminara. It carried energy to the sky fairies, warmth to the water spirits, and light to the forest elves. But one evening, the flames began to dim. Something was wrong. The light that once danced in the air now flickered weakly. Lyra noticed the fire's energy being pulled toward the far edge of the realm, a place forbidden even to fairies, the Shadow Rift. The Shadow Rift was where all lost magic went, a dark chasm filled with echoes of broken spells. Even the bravest of fairies feared its silence, for it whispered their deepest fears back to them. Lyra's mentor, Elder Fina, warned her, if the fire fades into the rift, Luminara will fall into eternal night. Lyra clenched her glowing wand and whispered, "Then I will bring it back." Despite her small size, her determination burned brighter than the strongest flame. Lyra flew over molten rivers, dodged embers, and crossed valleys where the air shimmered with heat. Along the way, she met an injured lava fox trapped under fallen stones. Though she was in a hurry, Lyra stopped to help. Using her magic, she melted the rocks and freed the fox. The fox bowed and said, "My name is Ashen. The flames respect your heart. Let me guide you." Together, they set out toward the darkness, the first fairy ever to walk beside a creature of fire. As they neared the rift, a storm of black smoke rose, forming ghostly shapes in the air. These were shadow wraiths, creatures born from forgotten fears. They surrounded Lyra and Ashen, whispering cruel words. "You are too small, too weak. Leave the flames to die." Lyra closed her eyes and remembered her mother's lullaby, a song of light. She began to sing softly, her voice pure and glowing. Each note pushed the shadows back until the smoke thinned and the firelight returned to her path. Ashen looked at her in awe. "You don't fight darkness with power, you fight it with light." Beyond the storm lay a hidden cave filled with glowing red crystals. Inside, the flames from the fire path were being absorbed by a massive black crystal. At its center sat a mysterious figure, a dark fairy named Noctra, the fallen guardian of shadow magic. Noctra's wings were beautiful but cracked, and her eyes burned with envy. "The fire gave me nothing," she hissed. "Now it will serve me." Lyra stepped forward, trembling but unafraid. "You can't steal light, Noctra. You can only lose your own." Noctra unleashed waves of dark magic, shattering the crystals and filling the cavern with fire and smoke. Lyra's golden wings flared, casting beams of light through the darkness. The two forces collided, flame against shadow, courage against despair. Ashen leaped through the fire, biting the black crystal to distract Noctra. Lyra seized the chance and aimed her wand at the crystal. By the flame that gives life, return to the path of light, she cried. A surge of fiery energy burst out, breaking the crystal and freeing the stolen flames. But the explosion of light was too powerful. The cave began to collapse. Lyra realized the only way to stabilize the fire flow was to channel her own magic into the fire path. If I do this, I might never fly again, she whispered. Ashen shook his head. Luminara needs you. Lyra smiled softly. It doesn't need me. It needs light. She placed her wand into the ground, and her wings began to dissolve into radiant sparks that spread across the fire path. The flames roared to life once again, bright, warm, and eternal. The fire path blazed brighter than ever before, reaching the skies and filling Luminara with color. Noctra, now freed from darkness, wept as she watched Lyra vanish into light. She whispered, "She gave up her wings to give us dawn." The fairies, elves, and spirits gathered at the edge of the fire path, bowing their heads in silence. From the embers, a tiny golden flame floated up Lyra's spirit, smiling as she rose into the morning sun. Years later, when the sun rose over Luminara, children of fairies would gather at the fire path. Their parents would tell them, when the flames flicker, "That's Lyra watching over us." Ashen, now an old lava fox, guarded the fire path, his fur glowing faintly gold. And sometimes, when a fairy was lost in the dark, a faint whisper could be heard in the wind. Remember, you don't fight darkness with power. You fight it with light. The message of the story, true strength, is not in size or power. It's in the heart that shines, even when everything around it is dark. Lyra's courage reminds us that even the smallest spark can bring back an entire world's light. Her sacrifice became the eternal reminder that kindness, bravery, and hope never die. They simply become light for others to follow.